come summer, there might be a brand new industry in Canadian business, cannabis. It's not often that something like this takes place. New legislation that transforms our business landscape and gives all kinds of Canadian companies the runway to become global leaders. But as the government treads on uncharted territory, how can potential pot retailers successfully set up shops amidst all the uncertainty? To discuss this, we're joined by Chadha. She is National Cannabis Leader at EY Canada. So now, Monica, you've put out a whole paper advising businesses on the best way to approach opening a retail spot. What made you think that businesses needed to hear this?
Well, being a retailer in general in today's day and age is a challenge. And when you add to that the regulatory scrutiny here, the nascency of this particular industry, and the uncertainty, it makes it that much more challenging. So there was a need to kind of collate together information that could be given to retailers who are looking to enter this space. So a market entry framework or strategy, or the tenets of that entry, if you will.
Okay, so now there already are going to be quite a few big players in terms of cannabis retailing, right? I mean, I'm thinking in Ontario, the LCBO is running it, right? And a lot of eastern provinces, the liquor control boards are going to basically become the marijuana store. And then out west, there's a number of private companies like Liquor Barn and Liquor Mart are going to be selling it. So they're big companies that presumably have their own departments that would be looking into all of this. Do they need to know more from you as well?
Absolutely. So each province is completely different in terms of what the structure of the retail environment will look like. You've already mentioned here in Ontario, there's an offshoot of the LCBO with the Ontario cannabis stores. Although LCBO does exist and there may be infrastructure and there may be elements that they could leverage, there is still a need to truly understand the nuances that are specific to this particular industry. Mm-hmm. And of the net new retailers that are coming into this space, certainly there is some direction that's required in terms of how do they strategically enter this space.
So are there a number of, I guess what you'd call like a mom and pop type of operation, like small independents that are saying, I want to be, the cannabis store in our neighborhood?
You can expect to see that for those provinces that are allowing private companies or private individuals to come in. I think you're going to see a conglomerate or cluster of a number of mom and pop shops or onesie twosie shops. That'll be coupled with probably LPs who have the bandwidth to potentially open
limited partnerships, you mean?
So licensed producers.
Licensed producers.
To potentially open up multiple stores. And then I think you're going to see some interesting partnerships happen. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have a good hybrid and cross section. And I think of those mom and pop shops, a number of them are going to try to position themselves for longevity and stability by potentially being a niche player.
And what do you think is the biggest challenge facing these people?
The major challenge I see here is the level of uncertainty in this industry and ambiguity.
Uncertainty about what exactly?
So there's still uncertainty about the regulatory environment. There's uncertainty with respect to consumer preferences and consumer demand. Just the inventory levels that they have to keep. Being a nascent industry, we have no baseline here and no foundation. So, we don't know how many existing consumers in the illicit market are going to convert over. We don't know what the adoption rate is going to be of net new consumers.
Right.
So how you go about even stocking your shelves and how much inventory to have is a challenge.
That's a lot of uncertainty.
Absolutely.
You'd have to have a lot of guts to jump into that business, although I suppose they're thinking, hey, it's going to be a moneymaker.
It's going to be a moneymaker, and you're part of history here, right? So they're shaping history, they're paving the path forward for the future. So very exciting times, and certainly individuals who are interested in entering this space are interested in being a part of that history.
All right, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Chadha is the National Cannabis Leader at EY Canada.